You are watching W.A.R.T. television for the fun of it.
It's going to work.
I knew it would. My God, I knew it would.
Max, we had to make a last-minute decision. We had no choice.
Is this some kind of a joke?
What, you can't take a joke?
Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting! Oh, what a world! What a world! Who would have thought of you to destroy my beautiful wickedness? Ah, the bomb! I'm going!
What the fuck? Whoa. Hello and welcome to another edition of the Seriously Absurd Movie Review Show. The review show that tells and shows you what the other review shows don't show and tell you. And I'm your host, Marvin Movies, where I tell and show you some of the most absurd films ever made where our reality has no place for where the director thinks reality should be. Now, this movie has been reviewed to death, so let me just add just one more gravestone, unlike any of the others, as I show you one of the best examples of pure movie absurdity people paid to see back in 1958. Not to worry, though, they're still doing it today. The film came to us from Vogue Pictures Incorporated, called It, the Terror from Beyond Space, directed by the highly creatively inventive director Edward L. Kahn. As you remember, he was the one responsible for such well-remembered films like Voodoo Woman, Zombie of Morota, Drag Strip Girl, Invasion of the Saucer Men, The She Creature, Shake, Rattle, and Rock, Girls in Prison, Guns, Girls, and Gangsters, and many more little-known classics. The unbalanced and delusional screenplay of a group of people in a spaceship back to Earth was by Jerome Bixby, a little-known writer whose best-known screenplay was for the 1966 film Fantastic Voyage, and we all know how delusional that was, as well as a few really good original Twilight Zone and Star Trek episodes, along with the 2007 film called The Man from Earth, even though he died in 1998. Very prolific, even beyond the grave. In one of his more commanding roles, the lead actor is portrayed by Marshall Thompson, best known for films like Cult of the Cobra, Lure of the Swamp, Fiend Without a Face, First Man in Space, Around the World Under the Sea, Clarence the Cross-Eyed Lion, and many, many more, which was never made into a film. To serve the crew sandwiches and coffee, they hired Shirley Patterson, but for this film, she chose to be called Sean Smith, and was in films like The Batman, World Without End, The Land Unknown, and My Kingdom for a Cook, unlike the porno version. Helping out is Anne Durant, who featured in The Man They Couldn't Hang, The More the Merrier, and a shitload of other films, too numerous to mention, from way back when. Other crew members include Dabbs Greer, famous for appearances on a gazillion TV shows, as well as being in House of Wax, Hot Cars, Hot Rod Girl, The Vampire, The Invasion of the Body Snatchers. Included in this cast of renowns is the incomparable Paul Langdon, from such films you may remember like Invisible Invaders or The Cosmic Man, and if you saw The Incredible Shrinking Man, he's in that too. Included in the lineup is Kim Spaulding, who was quickly seen and uncredited in the film The Day the Earth Stood Still. Richard Benedict is also part of the courageous crew, a small part actor in great films like The Beginning of the End, Monkey on My Back, Murder Without Tears, and I know none of us will ever forget that classic Umu, Umu, the Shark God. They didn't need CGI back then. Included in the survivors is Robert Bice, best known for playing an authentic Indian called Chief Red Cloud in the film The Gun That Won the West.
Sioux and Cheyenne become as one. We are strong, and we shall drive the white men from our land.
Powerful stuff. Shame the Academy Awards never heard of this film. The other actors in this film are mostly fodder for the monster, who is played by Ray Corrigan, or better known as Crash Corrigan. Best remembered for such films as The Bride and the Beast, where he played Spanky, the wife-stealing gorilla. He also featured in Bela Lugosi Meets a Brooklyn Gorilla. Guess who the gorilla was? In Forbidden Jungle, he played Gigi the gorilla. Crash also played the lead role in the film Zamba, playing Zamba the gorilla. The Monster and the Ape playing Thor the gorilla. The Hairy Ape playing Goliath the gorilla. And the list goes on and on. Too many more to mention right now. Now, onto the film. The story is a simple-minded one that takes place in the future of 1973. Boy, they had a lot of high hopes back in 1958, as the story concerns the first spaceship from Earth which crash-landed on Mars, but all 9 of the crew survived. Finally, 6 months later, when a rescue spaceship arrived, also with 9 crew members to take them back to Earth, as if the spaceship wasn't full already, they find only 1 crew member left alive. Boy, they were lucky. Thinking he, Marshall Thompson, killed and ate his fellow crew members being stranded there for the last 6 months, want to take him back to Earth to be court-martialed. As they're about to leave, some bozo left the back door open in which the monster could enter the spaceship unseen. Also, they figured it was a good way to get extra fresh air into the ship before they left. It's here I begin to show you the absurdity of this good fun film that was never based on actual events. As you see, it looks like they crash-landed more on the moon than Mars. Shame that, had they colorized the black and white photo like this, I would have believed they were on Mars. But what's really absurd is the UFO flying by and checking out what's been going on, and right from the beginning, the absurdity level of this film begins to grow. Now, without it, the monster, I guess the film would be quite boring. But how exactly did it get on board the spaceship? In this extended YouTube version, you get to see it climb up one of the rocket fins and then in through the open door, which was filling the ship up with fresh air before the door was closed. How absurd that it, the monster, could climb the 15 meters up the metal fin without pitons. Moving along, we see the crew members getting ready for takeoff from the moon, Mars.
The emergency airlock and sea compartment has been left open. What gives?
Sorry, sir, that was me. I was dumping some empty crates overboard a while ago.
Name check.
Mary Royce, secure.
Mary Royce, secure. Ann Anderson, secure.
Major John Perdue, secure.
Bob Finelli, secure.
Lieutenant James Calder, secure.
Done. Understand.
Interesting, and ahead of its time, how they made the countdown clock run backwards. Just the same way NASA's been working for years now.
4, 3, 2, 1.
I like how the viewing monitor looks like a television set my parents watched when I was a kid, and what was on is Marshall Thompson's favorite show, which he's now watching. Is there anything good at this time of day worth watching? Now on their way back to Earth, I would like to point out the fact that humans like to dump their garbage everywhere they go, as seen in this extended YouTube colorized garbage video version of the film. Let us watch it together.
The emergency airlock and sea compartment has been left open. What gives?
Sorry, sir, that was me. I was dumping some empty crates overboard a while ago.
Wow, it really makes one think of how much refuge is already on the moon and Mars. Still on their way back to Earth, Colonel Van Heusen asks Colonel Carruthers, Marshall Thompson, if he wants to play guess the dead crew member. After which most of the men sit down so as to let the girls serve them sandwiches and coffee, the same way they do on the International Space Station. 10 minutes into this film, and still no one realizes that there's a blood-sucking inhuman who kills and eats humans on board. Colonel Van Heusen assures everybody,
By the time we reach Earth, I'll have this confession on tape.
Boy, is he stupid to believe that shit. But not to spoil it too early, let's move on. Later that night, Colonel Carruthers and Lieutenant James Calder are watching TV. On duty a few decks below is Thom Carney as Joe Kleinholz, who hears noises coming from below the deck he's on, so goes to investigate. First meal of the day for It and the actor least seen in this film. If you enjoyed Tom Carney's performance as Kleinholz before his demise in this film, then you're in luck, as you can see him in long-lost classics like Cell 2455, Death Row, 5 Against the House, The Shadow on the Window, where he played the Shadow, as well as a shitload of old TV shows he bit-parted in. Now back to the absurdity, as Colonel Carruthers is the only one to hear It having an in-flight meal, knowing what It sounds like when eating astronauts.
What was that?
What?
I heard something.
What?
I don't know.
I didn't hear anything.
I learned to hear all over again on Mars.
He goes to check it out with the reluctant crew members.
Not a sign of him. This is ridiculous. It's just plain crazy. Kleinholz has got to be here.
Where's your brother? Oh, he's coming.
Hey, Gino. Hey, Gino.
Well, he was right behind me.
Hey, Gino.
Well, what a surprise. They found nothing, not even the missing crew member, while another crew member is attacked by It, as this was the only film Richard Hervey, as Gino Finelli, was in, along with a few TV shows. Realizing there are now 2 missing crew members, they all head back downstairs again. Fortunately, Bob Finelli finds his brother Gino's lucky pack of cigarettes, and makes them his own, and calls out his name to make sure he's not around.
Gino. Gino.
Finally, Colonel Carruthers finds where Kleinholz has been hiding. And they drag him out dead because It had sucked all the juices out of him. They now think they know where Gino might be hiding, so move the boxes out of their way. Isn't it amazing how nothing is latched or tied down, making it easier and quicker to move the cargo about? I sure would like to know where they get their gravity from while flying through space, but then again, this is the totally absurd made believable. Major John Peru goes into the ventilation system to have a look, just like the guy did in the first Alien movie, but he only had a flamethrower. But Major John Peru has got a gun, so he should be able to blow it away quite easily. Quite normal to shoot guns off in spaceships back in 1973. He finally finds Gino, but somebody punched him in the face and gave him 2 black eyes, which is what Major Perdue also gets when he tries to help, but comes face to face with It.
Gino. Gino.
He shoots at It a few times, but misses and scrambles back to tell the crew that they owe Colonel Carruthers a really big apology. Standing there trying to figure out how to kill It, Colonel Carruthers spots what may be their only hope, a loose box of hand grenades just sitting on a box over there. Putting what they think might be enough hand grenades on the ventilation covers for when It tries to get out, go back upstairs where it's safe to wait. Hearing that the hand grenades didn't work, and all these guns and bullets are a bit useless against It, Mary, one of the tea ladies, comes up with a surefire way she thinks will get rid of It, using some fort-filled stink bombs.
Those gas grenades that Gino made up. He joked about them, said if we ran into any dinosaurs on Mars, the grenades would take care of them, but if nothing else works, maybe gas?
In the chemical cabinet, Eric.
Dinosaurs on Mars? Why, of course. But It enjoyed the smell and continues his quest to suck the crew dry.
Bullets, grenades, nothing stops it. What do we do now?
The encounter with it has terribly frightened what's left of the crew, and Mary is the last to relieve herself. You did wash your hands, I hope. After which Colonel Carruthers finally gets his apology, if only from one crew member.
I know this may sound horrible, but you were right and we were all wrong. It's taken this to prove it.
Interesting that the landing platform controls panel is on the wall. With that out of the way, it's back to how to kill it. Finally, Eric comes up with what he thinks may be a good plan to get rid of it. Using the official rocket ship plans NASA supplied, he tells his crewmates.
Going out the control room emergency airlock, moving down the hall to the emergency airlock on the motor level.
Well, that would put us one level below it. We might be able to surprise it that way.
If we knew what to surprise it with.
Well, I've been thinking of something. At least it's worth a chance.
There's no screwing helmets onto the rest of the spacesuit here. She just tucks the helmet flaps under the collar, and Colonel Carruthers is quite safe from the vacuum of space. Entering the airlock, they find it has a very normal control panel. One of the most dangerous things an astronaut may have to do apart from killing it monsters is a spacewalk along the hull of the ship while traveling really fast through space. Great seamless edge cutting technology is what this film is all about. As long as they keep 1 foot on the hull, the ship's gravity should keep them from floating off into the starry black wilds of the galaxy. Hey man, I can see your house from here. Sweet. Reaching the deck below the it monster, they slowly climb back into the ship. Getting back into the ship one deck below it, they get out the gear they need, as this time they plan to electrocute Mr. It. While they get ready, It is beginning to get a bit homesick, looking out the window, and scratching his mouth.
Grenades, gas, and bullets have failed to stop the beast. But perhaps it can be electrocuted.
I remember the good old days back on Mars when I used to be able to eat a crew member and they couldn't do shit about it.
There's enough voltage in these lines to kill 30 human beings. The only drawback is the thing isn't human.
How absurd this movie is once again. You can't fly a rocket ship with only enough electrical power to kill 30 human beings. Good thing for it, I'll bet you. Taking their places with the traps set, open the hatch to let it climb on down to its doom. Just shocking to think power to kill 30 people would be enough. I told you it was only enough to tickle its gonads. Can you hear him laughing? I can. Colonel Carruthers, the coward, runs away, leaving his mate stuck between whatever those things do for the spaceship.
I'm gonna get you, you bastard!
It doesn't look good for Lieutenant Calder. Meanwhile, back upstairs, the two injured crewmen have been given pints of blood to combat the infection it gave them when it anointed them with its touch. And just like that, they've used up all their supplies of bottled blood. So need to get some more, which is downstairs with your friendly neighborhood it. At least that's what the tea lady Anne tells the crew. We see one drip line going into each injured crew member with nothing coming out. Boy, it's really going to enjoy sucking these guys dry.
If they're going to live, they've got to have fresh blood, constantly. And there's no more up here in the dispensary.
And we've got to go down and get it.
Ed, Dad will appreciate it. Come back.
It in the reactor room, the injured Van Heusen thinks he knows how to destroy it by opening the door on the reactor chamber. Sadly, all this does is to give it a suntan and piss him off. So goes after the crew again.
I got you, you sack of shit. Come here.
Having traded a crew member for the blood supplies they needed, head back upstairs to relax, have a cup of tea, and try to figure out how next to try and kill it. Well, it looks like this is it, for them or it, as they have stacked all their luggage on top of the hatch door.
There is nothing to do but wait now. Nothing to do but see if the beast will reach us through the center hatch. We can go no higher. We are in the top level of the ship. This is where either we die or it dies.
Good thing they have a bazooka with them in case it breaks through their luggage defense system.
All right. Take a look at this. The oxygen consumption's way up. 40% over every previous maximum.
40%? Well, perhaps the gas from the grenades.
That wouldn't affect it that much. It's not a leak. The pressure's all right. You thinking the same thing I'm thinking?
Preacher.
Must have enormous lungs for the thin air on Mars. Let all the air out of the ship. If we can do it in time, it's the only thing that'll kill it.
We can build up the air supply for ourselves later.
Right. Get your spacesuits on, quick!
What a great idea to try and kill it by letting all the air out of the spaceship. Quickly, everybody suits up, and the final showdown is about to begin. Who will survive, it or them? Let us watch this fiasco together. Oh shit, it's broken through the hatch door but gets stuck. At this distance, he won't miss with the bazooka. Oh darn, he missed. Van Heusen opens the door and becomes its last meal before all the air is sucked out of the spaceship. Yep, there goes it. Finally, in the epilogue, we learn that Mars has been renamed.
You have been called here again to receive further information about the story which was given to you last night. I will read you the text of a teleradio message received from the Challenge 142 less than an hour ago. This is Eric Royce talking. Of the 19 men and women who have set foot upon the planet Mars, 6 will return. There's no longer a question of murder, but of an alien and elemental life force. A planet so cruel, so hostile, that man may find it necessary to bypass it in his endeavor to explore and understand the universe. Another name for Mars is death.
Death? Well, that's a stupid name to call a planet. I think they should have called it pure absurdity. Need I say more? I hope you've enjoyed this review of this wonderful motion picture, and be with me next time when I review more absurdity from Hollywood. And I'm your host, Marvin Movies. Ta-ta.